Hello, we have saved you a seat. Welcome to episode 45 of Train Station at 8, a video game music podcast all about bringing you one single song. And wait a minute!
What is going on here?
Steven!
What?
My co-host and brother.
Hello, Bryan.
Hi.
Something strange is afoot today. It doesn't feel right.
Exactly. The train station is all, like...
Topsy-turvy? It's like that Castlevania thing, you know, when you, like, get to the end of Symphony of the Night or something, and then it
I've never played that game.
That's the hearsay. That's what they say. It's weird. You just woke up. It's like 10:45 in the morning where we are. We usually record in the evening,
and I usually get up earlier.
Yes, you usually get up a little earlier. It's a weird day, and that's one of the reasons that we're trying something new.
Are we?
Yeah, it's an idea I thought up 10 minutes before we recorded the show. So,
you know, I admire our transparency.
Yeah, I think that it's a good episode to be like that because we were almost about to put out a perfectly good standard two-person episode.
Yes.
Where we were talking about a game that we might bring up later, so I'll save it for later. Mm-hmm. But I kind of thought, we're a bit rushed today.
We are.
And
we have a busy weekend.
A very, very busy weekend, and I'm just not feeling this song. It's good, but I just don't know how much discussion we're going to get out of it.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought it was a weird song to choose because it has, like, I love it. It's just, I don't know how much I had to say about it.
Okay, so transparency, we are going to use the menu theme from Heroes of the Storm.
Mostly just because we've been playing a ton of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, and again, that would just be an excuse to talk about Heroes of the Storm rather than music. So I thought to myself, how can we make this snappy and fit into our schedule and still be interesting and fun and new?
We can't. We're canceling the podcast.
Exactly. This is a roundabout announcement.
You stink at this.
Well, that's what I was going to do until I learned I could flip the castle upside down. And then I thought two words. Actually, I didn't. I thought up this name later. But the effect was...
This isn't the inverted Majora's Mask song again, is it?
No, it is not, actually.
Okay.
Though I did some nifty editing tricks.
It's too early for that.
Yeah. Rhapsody Roulette.
What is that?
Does that mean anything to you, Bryan? Well, according to Wikipedia, the musical term Rhapsody is a one-movement work that is episodic yet integrated, free-flowing in structure.
Wait, it's a podcast?
We're getting there. Free-flowing in structure, featuring a range of highly contrasted moods, color, and tonality. An air of spontaneous inspiration and a sense of improvisation make it freer in form than a set of variations.
Wow, that's actually a lot like what we're about to start doing.
Exactly, which is purely coincidental. I was just looking for a good alliteration. But what we're going to do is... we're going to tackle 5 songs today, and they're going to be taken at random. We have no idea what these songs are going to be, but they are going to be pulled from my iTunes library.
Wait a minute. We're tackling 5 songs?
5.
Like, is that like 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
I didn't take advanced mathematics in college, Bryan, but I believe so.
Is that like 1 multiplied by 5?
Exactly. It isn't too early for you.
Is that like 10 subtracted by 5?
All right. So there are going to be a few caveats, though.
All right.
We're only going to pull from my playlist of music, which has 3+ stars in rating.
Aw, I want 1 stars.
We're not going to get terrible songs,
right.
but we could get amazing songs. But don't worry, I have well over 5,000 songs in this category.
Oh my gosh.
Now, they're not all video game
5,000?
Yes, like I said, it's going to be a quick little episode, 5,000 songs. It does have to be a video game song, though.
Fair enough.
And it has to be 3 minutes or shorter.
All right.
Because we don't want...
We're not going to put, like, this is a 12-minute montage.
Yeah, right. Let's listen to all the World of Warcraft title themes. So, that's the game today, Bryan.
All right.
I think we should we start out with what we've been listening to, or just go right into the fun?
That is an excellent question. I kind of want to talk a little bit about what I've been listening to.
Okay, let's do that.
I've been listening, the one thing I just really wanted to mention is I've been listening to Electrosurgery from, Karl B. and the Soul Surgeons.
Oh, wow.
Which is Karl Brueggemann's funk band he started recently.
Very funky. How are you finding the funk?
I'm finding the funktastic.
Oh, nice.
Funktacular. Funk amazing. It's good.
Funkalicious. There you go.
It's really good stuff. It's very jazzy. It reminds me a lot of like a more serious De Blob kind of soundtrack. It's good. I like it a lot.
That's neat.
I'm curious to see where they go in the future. I think I'm talking, Steve.
I'm sorry. I'm
rude.
Just excited.
I think it'd be really cool if they expanded to have some more like brass, because right now it's a keyboardist, a bassist, a guitarist, and a drummerist, and I think a hornist could be pretty awesome as well.
Oh, sure. When it comes to the jazzy, funky stuff, I really like them. I really like brass. And I've been in the mood for that kind of music recently, so maybe I'll start listening to that.
I would do that. Have you been listening to anything?
Yeah, I sure have. Let me think.
No.
Oh,
fine.
No thinking at all.
None.
I've been listening
This episode's not about thinking.
That's darn right. But, what have I been listening to? I can't remember anymore.
Wow. This is not good radio.
I know. I didn't prepare for this. What have I been listening to? Thomas Was Alone. I listened to the Thomas Was Alone soundtrack last night.
That's a good soundtrack.
While I was driving around in the dark. It was lovely. I very much enjoyed that.
That sounds lovely.
That's really the only thing I can remember, though.
Excellent. We can move on then to our Rhapsody Roulette, which we need like a cool intro segment for.
Well, if we have time in the editing.
Yeah.
But yeah, can't stop. Gotta go. So, without further ado, how about we take our first song, Brian?
All right, we'll take our first caller. Hello, caller.
All right.
Where are you from?
Our first caller is from iTunes, and it's from the 3+ stars playlist, and we're going to hit shuffle and see what we get.
Gotcha.
Song number 1 is typical of us from a World of Warcraft expansion, Mists of Pandaria. It is Temple of the Five Dawns from possibly Russell Brower. At least that's what my iTunes library says.
That was Temple of the Five Dawns from Mists of Pandaria.
We started this little roulette out on a high note, as far as I'm concerned.
An A sharp? No, actually, I don't know. So, Steven, what do you know about this song? Like, do you know where it plays?
Well,
do you know?
We didn't do any research, obviously, for the songs in this episode. I think the Temple of the Five Dawns, is this huge, cloud, like, higher than the clouds temple, where you fight images of yourself and learn great truths. There are lots of temples in Pandaria, so I'm not quite sure if that's the right one. But it's definitely in one of the very mystical places in an already very mystical land of Pandaria. We've talked a lot about Pandaria in the past, on Train Station at 8. It's my favorite World of Warcraft expansion. And this is one of my favorite songs, from the whole expansion.
Really? That's interesting. I mean, this is, I believe, my first time hearing it, so my thoughts are pretty unfinished. It was a pretty beautiful use of the guzheng, which, is that very distinct Chinese instrument you hear playing in at the beginning.
Yeah, the high-paced, plucking of strings.
Right, and then they play it slower later on. They do a couple, slides up and down it. There's a name for that I forget. But it's a great technique, and it sounds really at home in the Mists of Pandaria soundtrack. I'm not sure I'm sold on the melody of that song, though, especially as it gets a little more chaotic near the end. It doesn't... It's this weird combination of I can't tell if the song's trying to be harmonious or discordant.
That's interesting. I kind of admit, you mean kind of when it starts rising and falling near the end? That's a bit weird, but I love that violin or whatever it is about midway through. That starts bringing in the melody.
Yeah, I love the midpoint. I'm just not sure about the... It's like, I don't know.
It's a bit weird, but I love the combination of all the different instruments. We actually own a guzheng, which is the most exotic instrument in our house. I got it, for you for Christmas.
Yes.
And
it's pretty rad.
Even though I've only played around with it a little bit, I just love that instrument so much.
The instrument has a special place in my heart, and it's always cool for me to hear people play it because I know what they're doing and how they're doing it, which is always a fun.
And you could pretty much do it. It's not actually that hard.
No, it's a very easy instrument. For people who haven't played it before, what makes it so easy, is the entire thing is tuned to a scale. So basically each octave only has 5 notes in it, or 5 strings to the octave. So you tune the octave to a specific scale. So you might tune it to, I believe the most common is A minor. But I could be remembering. No, it's a pentatonic scale, I think is the most common for it. And so if you were to just slide your finger up the strings, it's already going to be playing a perfect scale up or down. So it's every note you play on it will sound correct for that scale or for that key. So you can
just slide randomly up and down, and it will sound beautiful.
And you can just tune it into a different key. So it's a really cool instrument that's great for beginners who want to sound awesome.
Well, that's something I've really been discovering about the whole Mists of Pandaria soundtrack. I've been kind of teaching myself a little bit of piano recently.
Right, yeah.
For the first time in a long time, which is, it's not something I've been listening to so much as I've been playing. I've been having a really good time doing it. I love it. I'm so rudimentary, so basic. But just that little bit of playing along with a song I know, just one key at a time, is making me understand the music so much more. And I've been learning all of the songs from Mists of Pandaria. That soundtrack has such simple melodies.
Yeah, they're very simple. They're quite slow.
I'm sure you've heard me talk about the one where the Pandaren lore walker sings along.
Yeah, is that the song of Luling?
Is it? I don't know. It's called Traveler's Road or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Luling sings it. I don't really know. But that's one of the songs I learned, for example. And it's so easy. It's slow and it's just one note at a time, but it's just so much more meaningful and harmonious than
Bon Jovi.
Than Bon Jovi. That's exactly what I was going to say. So, alright, I guess that's song number 1. I liked it a lot.
I like the idea that the Pandaren just starts singing, Tommy had to work at the docks.
You're going to have to save that for the Elite Tartan Chieftains.
This is so out of place. Yes, we should move on to our next song, which will hopefully not be Living on a Prayer.
It won't be, because I would never put that in my 3+ stars playlist. Alright, here we go. Song. Roulette! Song number 2 is The World Adventure, piano version, from Sonic World Adventure, or as you may know it, Sonic Unleashed.
I was going to say, if the next song was Sonic, people are not going to trust your library, because we say, okay guys, it's going to be random this time, and we play a World of Warcraft song and then a Sonic song.
Admittedly, like, my two biggest playlists beside this are Sonic and World of Warcraft.
It's just hilarious to me. All right, everyone. Sorry, Steven, you can finish.
Okay, well, I was mostly done. It's just from Sonic Unleashed. It's called the World Adventure piano version.
All right, let's go. Steven, that didn't sound like Sonic music. That was the World Adventure piano version from Sonic Unleashed.
Well, what does and doesn't sound like Sonic music? That series has gone to the moon and back before.
That's a fair point.
Like, literally.
This is just like a weird pacing for a Sonic music. It's very jazzy, kind of background lounge music.
Well, it is actually an official arrangement from the game in question of the main theme, which is the World Adventure.
More of like a rousing orchestral piece.
Which was aping Mario Galaxy shamelessly.
Right, I mean, before they even more shamelessly aped it.
Yes, that was the prototype of the aping.
I don't think it was actually aping it. This game came out in, like, what, 2008 or something?
Well, I suppose so.
I'm pretty sure they were working on it before they cared about Mario Galaxy.
Really? Because it sounded so much like the kind of,
they came out so close to each other.
I don't know. Well, I won't accuse Sega of something that
except that you just did. I mean, I'm going to look this up because I think this is an important fact for people to know. If it came out in 2010, then you're correct.
Either way, the game certainly wasn't following in Mario Galaxy's footsteps. It had Sonic
it wasn't nearly that good.
Well, hey, I'm not going to argue that, but you could turn into a werewolf. You ran all around the world to famous locations with made-up names.
All right, so it came out a year after Mario Galaxy. I suppose it is totally possible they aped the music.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be following that style of your mascot platformer with like a grand, sweeping, adventurous orchestral theme.
Yep, looking under the development section of Wikipedia, it says, Sega said in an interview that they aped Mario Galaxy soundtrack and are proud of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that clears it up then. I don't mind. I don't mind so much, having said that.
Yeah, so what do you think of that song?
I really like this one. I think it plays in, what's Professor Cucumber? What's his name?
Pickle.
Professor Pickle. What?
Professor Cucumber.
There's this old man who helps Sonic on his adventures in Sonic.
And he loves cucumber sandwiches, I think.
Oh, he loves cucumber sandwiches. Yes, he's quite a quaint old fellow. He's very nice.
Yep.
And I think this plays in his study, where you kind of go and accept missions.
Kind of the place to do look at your artwork gallery and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And it's just a really cool idea. It kind of reminds me of the Super Smash Bros. Way of doing things, where you'll have like the main theme and then you'll go into the trophy menu or something and it'll be playing like the lounge version.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it quite a bit. It's jazzy. It's really simple. It just is that one piano. I kind of like the dedication for that.
Uh-huh.
And the tune works surprisingly well when you bring it down to a more, day-to-day kind of style. I thought it was really creative. I liked it a lot.
It's got a really fun bouncy sound to it, almost like a blues or a ragtime, kind of that dun 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 with the chords in the background.
Yeah. Like a good rhythm. It will also, kind of I don't have the musical verbiage necessary, but it kind of has kind of
the hammer-ons,
an offbeat kind of that dun dun dun.
It's got a good like swing
dun,
to the
dun,
beat.
Yeah, kind of a swing. I like it. I really like it. It's just one of the many things that I've come to expect from the Sonic music series. Always trying something new and something interesting.
Yeah, let's hope they keep at that.
Kind of like
the soundtrack
this podcast,
for the Birdie Owl weird game that came out recently. Lyric.
What are you talking
Sonic
about?
Boom?
Oh,
okay. Isn't the enemy like an owl guy?
I don't remember. I know he's a snake. He's a snake.
Okay. I'm gonna look this up. But, what is the soundtrack like in that game?
I have been able to find almost nothing on that soundtrack. Last I checked, no one had ripped it. I couldn't find it isolated from gameplay. I really couldn't tell you. I'm going to assume it's generic, like fake orchestra, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. But Sonic Unleashed was actually a pretty decent game. It was broken in the werehog sections where Sonic morphed into a werewolf because, I think
why not?
Dr. Eggman did some horrible experiment or something. Mm-hmm. Not everything panned out just quite right, but it was a very cool game that went on to inspire Sonic Generations, which is one of the best Sonic games ever, and has the best Sonic soundtrack ever. It's like a best.
I kind of wish you would have been able to play the theme song for Sonic Unleashed.
That would have been fun, but this is more interesting.
That's true. The theme song's pretty interesting. I don't mean the orchestral.
Oh, you mean Endless Possibility?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Yeah.
Exactly. That I wish they kept doing that. They kind of fell out of getting those weird, like, pop rock songs.
I know.
Why, Sonic?
I really dislike that the new Sonic games seem to just have generic orchestral. That's not what Sonic the Hedgehog is about,
Sonic
man.
Needs attitude, man.
Yeah, it needs the attitude and the, whatever happens to be going on in modern music, kind of go back 5 or 10 years from that. And then that's what the Sonic theme song
Well, I guess he's like due for what, dubstep now?
Yes, exactly.
All right.
I've been vouching for that for years. But anyway.
What is our next song, Steven?
Well, our next song is Beep! With Heat from Armored Core 4.
Woo! Okay, that was With Heat from Armored Core 4. That song reminds me of the game Armored Core 4, which is jarring, confusing, and makes me all tense, and I don't know how much of that is on purpose.
And it might actually be artistic brilliance, but you're not sure.
Exactly, like, that song just threw me for a loop, because is it just me, or would the instruments just fall out of sync of the tempo randomly throughout it?
They would. The whole Armored Core 4 soundtrack actually reminds me of one of my favorite lyrical moments from Switchfoot, which is, the ocean sounds like a garage band coming at me like a drunk man.
Yeah, it's like, especially at the end there, it was so jarring because it like jumped ahead in the drum beat to like a later point of it and then back again. So
it was
like,
essentially just looping the last 3 seconds over and over again.
Yeah, except it would throw a couple different drum beats into it, and that bass line would be like really pounding, but then would like fall out of sync with the drums, and it was just, oh my gosh, that was kind of cool.
So Armored Core 4 is one of the games in a line of sort of mech simulators, kind of, more of action games.
Yes.
Is that From Software?
That is from Software.
From Software, the makers of such classics as Demon's Souls.
And Ninja Blade.
Actually,
did they make Ninja Blade?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Someone made Ninja Blade. I'm going to look that up.
As I said before, we're not researching this episode. I am. It's done in real time. But yeah,
whole guess who made Ninja Blade?
From Software?
Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
We got the facts here at Train Station at 8. We own this game, or Armored Core 4, or we did. I don't really know anymore. We
sold it.
Okay, we couldn't really get into it.
This is weird. Did you know the plot of Ninja Blade takes place in 2015?
I'm gonna level with you. I'm not really sure what Ninja Blade is.
It's like never mind, but it's just interesting to me that a game took place in 2015.
That is kind of interesting.
So, unfortunately, apparently we're gonna have to deal with an outbreak of necrotizing fascists.
I'm going to assume that.
No, wait, that's not fascist. That's a different word. Never mind.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks interesting. It's kind of like a Ninja Gaiden Devil May Cry kind of game.
Okay. From Software.
From Software.
Interesting.
Yep.
But yes, Armored Core 4, it's a weird game. The theme song is similar. I love the theme song, though. It's called Thinker or something.
Yep. There's a good remix of that from the OC Remix folks, right?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely listen to that. This is not one of my favorite songs from the soundtrack, but it's kind of a middling song. This is what you can expect to hear style-wise
Gotcha.
From Armored Core 4. I have no idea if it's closely related musically to the other Armored Core games, to be honest. I only know Armored Core 4. So I got the soundtrack at the physical version, actually, a Japanese import, I believe. I kind of got it with a bundle of other music that I bought on a trade on VGMDB.com. And I just kind of put it in and listened to the whole thing and was like, wow, this is really cool stuff. I don't understand it, but I like most of it. One thing I do like about it, though, is don't you appreciate how real and raw all of those, like, guitars and basses sound?
Yeah, they've got a very roomy sound to them. Like, they're actually being recorded.
Yes. Like, someone's just, like, you can just, like, almost hear the strings, like, snap and vibrate, and it's very, in your face and strange.
It is both of those things. I'm still not sure what to think about that song, but it was an experience. Probably too early in the morning, though.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe your mind is fresh and ready to accept new ideas.
Nope.
No, okay.
Speaking of new ideas,
you want me to play some more Sonic Jazz Lounge music?
Yeah, like, what the heck? Oh, though, by the way, we have played Blizzard Sega for people trying to keep track of our music here. Here, it is not our fault that Nintendo doesn't release any of their soundtracks.
Right. I mean, I would buy Tropical Freeze, Mario Galaxy, whatever you have, but
Sega is so much better about this. So, yeah, blame Nintendo for this.
Yeah. And also blame me because I buy all the Sonic soundtracks, even if they're
blame
bad.
Steven too. So,
all right. Well, in that case, are you ready to go through another whirlwind of adventures and click this your button?
Why not? We have 2 songs left. Let's listen to one of them.
All right. Let's see what we have. Randomization! Well, we've broken away from our trend of Sega and our trend of World of Warcraft. But we found the other train that you'll find in my library, which is Soul Calibur music.
Yep, Namco music.
Namco music. This is from Soul Calibur 5. It's by Junichi Nakatsuru, our personal favorite. And it's called The Field of Honor.
All right, that was The Field of Honor from Soul Calibur 5, composed by Junichi Nakatsuru.
No, I believe that was Summit Rising from Ace Combat 5.
Yeah,
I think it's,
what the heck?
The
that
song
was
that
just,
plays.
That was just an Ace Combat song. What was that doing in Soul Calibur? Like, I know there are, like, similarities between the two, but that was just Ace Combat.
Yes,
like,
Junichi Nakatsuru is also famous for doing his Ace Combat scores, as you might have heard us talk about before.
Right.
And we could always find similarities between that and Soul Calibur, but this time everything was there. The strings that add pressure going, none,
that
the little
dung, dung, dung,
ding, ding, and then of course the
like the militaristic
drums.
It's crazy. Even the melody was like an Ace Combat melody.
Yes.
I'm
guessing this plays when you're reading some kind of text or about to embark on one of the missions in Soul Calibur 5. I don't really know.
That sounds right. Something interesting about the song, I love a lot of Junichi Nakatsuru's work, but this reminds me more of the kind of songs that were in Ace Combat 4 in terms of just like song quality. It was really blatantly synthesized to me, like a lot more than his other work typically is. Which I thought was interesting. Like the strings and the quality of the instruments did not sound up to his typical standards.
I suppose you have a point with that. Honestly, I get kind of mixed up when it comes to his standards because I listen to things all the way back from Soul Calibur 2 up to Ace Combat 6, I guess, or Soul Calibur 5. So
I would have to go back and listen to the Ace Combat stuff again, but I feel like it's not as obvious or blatant. I feel that one like didn't do a very good job of masking it.
The interesting thing about Soul Calibur 5 is how hit and miss the entire soundtrack is.
Yeah, the quality just jumps like really, what would you say, really hard turns.
Yeah, it hits some of the highest of highs that we've seen in a while from Soul Calibur, and then it hits very much the lowest of lows. A bunch of different people worked on it. Some of Junichi's stuff is the best, and others, other like top picks come from, like Eminence Orchestra. I don't really know who composed that.
Andrew Aversa.
Yeah, or Andrew Aversa himself, who you wouldn't really think to find in,
He's also
huge Japanese video game franchise.
Also known as Zircon. He does a lot of like synthetic, electronic music.
Yeah. So this was like a really kind of feel good, some kind of adventure is about to start, danger on the horizon.
It's a good song.
I love Junichi Nakatsuru.
It's a classic Junichi. It almost feels like Junichi parodying himself.
Yeah, yes.
Just so him. Every element is there. It doesn't take a single risk. It is just like, I need to put a song out. Okay, strings, done. Military drums, done. Sweeping, kind of rousing, but, what would you say, dramatic melody, done. And let's throw in like some little dung, 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 dung in the background. Okay, done. Put it out.
Yeah.
Oops, this isn't an Ace Combat game? Oh well, use it anyway.
I wonder, I think from what I know, they're reusing a lot of old music for the new free-to-play Soul Calibur game that nobody seems to like. I wonder if
this song made it in.
I wonder if like this was actually reused from a game. We just
this is like an Ace Combat 4 song. He's like, no one remembers that game. And actually, I don't think Junichi worked on 4, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get mixed up a lot.
But yeah, that was pretty darn cool. I like hearing his style pretty much anywhere. I just find it so interesting that it was that I've heard some Soul Calibur-esque songs in Ace Combat, but it was pretty cool to hear the inverse.
Yeah, I agree. That was fun to listen to. And it's continuing to stereotype me as someone who only has Sega, Namco, and Blizzard music in my library.
Yep.
So let's see if we can break that trend.
I'm trying to think of what could break the trend. Like, what other soundtracks?
Oh, come on. I have lots of soundtracks.
Name one.
Okay, it could be Remember Me. It could be the Remember Me soundtrack.
Okay.
Or maybe it's the Thomas Was Alone soundtrack. Or maybe it's Sonic 3D Blast. It's not breaking the trend. I just want to listen to that music.
Sure. Okay. Let's go.
Randomization, engage! All right. Well, the rules are the rules.
Oh, no.
And...
No, not World of Warcraft.
This time we have a song from the great Sega series.
Oh my gosh.
Sonic R. Living in the City, instrumental.
That was Living in the City instrumental version from Sonic R, composed, I believe, by T.J. Davis.
All right.
In case anyone was wondering, this game was released in the 90s.
Yes, it definitely was. T.J. Davis, though. Who's T.J. Davis?
Isn't that the British pop star who did this?
I thought Richard Jakes
I'm using star. Too. I'm using star somewhat.
I'm a little iffy. That's what it says.
Oh, you're right.
I thought Richard Jakes worked on this. I don't know who T.J. Davis is.
She might have just sang.
Maybe that's the singer. Maybe it's T.J. Davis.
So she did nothing with this track.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly. This plays at, of course, the city level. What was it called?
It was called,
Radical City?
That actually sounds weirdly close, but I thought, weren't they like all alliterations except this one?
I think so.
And it was really confusing because there was like rural ruin or whatever. Yeah.
So we used to play Sonic R a lot when we were children. Regal Ruin, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
We played the multiplayer, and run around all the courses and run around them backwards and find all the Chaos Emeralds. Real classic game. I was thinking about how we keep running into Sega music over and over again.
Right.
And first I'm like, well, that might be a flaw in the system. But then I realized it's not a flaw because Sega music is the best music. So that's okay. But also, I think you're right about Sega constantly putting out all their albums. Blizzard also tends to put out their albums a lot.
Yes, so does Namco.
Namco does as well. Even, I don't like Tekken music very much, but I own a Tekken soundtrack just because Namco puts it out.
Yep.
Now, there were a lot of songs I was skipping that were from, non-video games or video game remixes or compilations or whatever, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they don't count. The music that counts is short songs,
right. From official video game
soundtrack releases.
It's like Sega and Namco the whole time.
Right.
So we are doing everything but actually talking about this song.
Yes. Well, this song doesn't have lyrics. Normally, you would hear the wonderful singer T.J. Davis, as far as we know.
So many different things to see. There's no time. So many different things to do, but there's no time. So many people all around. So many feelings to be found. Living in a city where no one lets you down.
Every single song in Sonic R had lyrics. This one is all about
living in the city.
It's about how everyone works together in the city, and it's a wonderful place.
I think that's work together.
No, I think that...
No, that's work it out. Sorry.
Yeah, that's work it out, but I'm also thinking in the city, you're never alone, and you always have a friend by your side.
That's right.
You have to survive.
Yeah. Because living in the city,
it's about city life. Brian and I have
in
had...
the city.
See, we've had a lot of...
Whoa!
It's very good. The reason I put this on at 3 stars, even though it's a bit, empty, is because sometimes you need some good karaoke music when you're driving in the car.
So many different things to see. There's no time. So many different things to do, but there's no time. So many people all around. So many feelings to be found. Living in a city where no one lets you down.
Oh, that's a good point.
This is a really good excuse for that.
Whoa.
Now, we have had many conversations about the creation of this music.
Yes, we have.
And whether or not it was created exclusively for the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about that the other day. And first of all, the theme song is Supersonic Racing. So
that's true.
That was truly created for the game. But for the rest of the stuff, they match too well with the stages.
Do you think? It's just city.
But there's city, and then there's the Diamond song, and then there's the Sunshine song. And unless they had like a huge bank of generic songs from this person to choose from, they would have had to kind of create their stages around the music.
That's a fair point.
Which admittedly, considering how much effort they put into it, maybe they did. That was like
I could really see it going either way.
The one memorable
This is like the most
point.
confusing soundtrack since Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, 2 at least.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I kind of assume everyone listening knows what Sonic R is, but it was that Saturn PC racing game featuring the Sonic characters during the period when no other Sonic games beyond Sonic 3D Blast were really being created. It was kind of a dark day before Sonic Adventure came around and rebooted everything. And It was also one of our first Sonic games and one that we played more than it deserved, probably, but I still think it's a fun little game. It's quite creative.
So let's break it down. What do you think of the song?
I mean, it's really generic. It just kind of, bops along with 90s instruments, I guess.
Yep, it's totally like synth pop.
Yeah, it obviously has gaps where there should be lyrics, but it's kind of interesting not having them there, because then you get to listen to the part that you never actually pay attention to.
Like the little synth line that runs through the entire song.
Yeah.
Oh, almost the entire song.
The little beep, 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 beep.
It's got some nice rhythms in there. The piano's nice and clean.
Yeah, it's actually
some chords.
It's like the quality's pretty high. There's something that's just kind of sparse and boring about it.
It's a little thin.
There's
nothing really driving. Like the drums are very light. Like there's no real bass to it.
It feels like something you would just generate. Like it feels like generated music to back up a star singer such as T.J. Davis.
Yeah, it feels like a person's backing track and not a very impressive one. Made in the 90s where like cheap synth was the thing. Because people were like, whoa, you can synthesize music?
Which
awesome.
It completely explains why it was on the Saturn. Now, all that said, I still like it. Like part of it is nostalgia, part of it is just it has like the pure musical quality of something that is kind of upbeat and catchy, and it's just kind of enjoyable to listen to in the background.
It is.
But invariably...
We should now start playing it in the background of all of our podcasts on loop.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be something we would do. At least it would be something I would do. And
I really hope it just starts playing.
But it would be distracting for me, because whenever I listen to this music without the lyrics, even if I manage to force myself to not sing, the words still appear in my mind. I cannot ignore them.
They really don't for me.
Oh, they definitely do. When I hear like when it goes on that ding 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 ding, ding ding ding, ding ding part, and everything kind of gets quiet and ethereal, I just can't not hear the rising of the voice.
Right.
In the city.
Yeah, I really don't listen to it very much.
Whoa!
So.
I listen to it a lot.
I literally can't recall the last time I listened to the Sonic car music. So.
Well, oftentimes I'll just be like, shuffling Sega music on purpose and not just accidentally.
That'll do it.
So,
but yeah, that closes out our Rhapsody Roulette.
I think it does.
I think we need to tweak the system, Steven.
I love this experiment. It was a really fun, laid-back thing to do. I think it's a cool process to just get us kind of talking about music that we wouldn't normally think to talk about, and it's just
you mean like Sonic music?
Well, we wouldn't really talk about the instrumental version of Sonic R, that's for sure.
That's a fair point. I kind of want to bring like the Mercado Brothers on and talk about Living in the City instrumental.
I don't want to hear what they have to say about
I just want to see how long they could talk about it.
How long they could stand to listen to it.
Yeah, it's like an endurance project.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I like
good
the
pop chord progression, but
oh yes, that's what they would.
It's about the extent of what they could offer,
because they try to be saying something that isn't inherently negative.
Exactly, and it's tough. Do you remember that shortcut you could take on the Work It Out level, where like you go up the little bouncy thing?
Yeah, and then you take a sharp right and then fly off the track and then try not to land in the water.
Exactly. Or if you had a bubble shield, it could go really well.
Yeah, and the NPCs didn't know how to use it, so you could beat them every time.
Oh my gosh, it was like one of the best shortcuts in the game.
It was amazing. You fly way up into the air, and it was pretty awesome.
Yep. The game is good.
So yes, we could use a little bit of tweaking on this feature. I really enjoy the process of it, though. I think it's fun. I like the randomness. It's kind of fresh and interesting. But we are going to run across a lot of the same music at some point, simply because of the distribution of my iTunes library. So we might
create like another database to pull from.
That's true. We might have to find somewhere else to get the music. Or we could just, roll with it and say, this is the kind of music that I or you listen to a lot, and just let that be what it is.
Enough.
We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. Speaking of seeing what happens, let's tell people about what happens on our social media.
Okay, well, at Twitter, we tweet about all kinds of cool things. We like favoriting things and retweeting things and saying things as well. Train Station at 8 is our Twitter handle. And it's kind of the same deal on Facebook. We're not quite as active there, but it's a good way to keep up with the show, and we're Train Station at 8 over there. I don't know, what else do we have? We're on iTunes.
We are on iTunes, and if anyone is listening and they enjoy the show, I highly encourage them to go to iTunes and write us a review, because I actually don't think we have one. We have one.
Yes.
But it would be awesome if there were any more. So if you are listening to this and you're like, these guys are swell, then go write a review, give us 5 stars, and say these guys are swell, and we would be
that's all. That is literally all it takes.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I actually am planning to go through, I think this weekend, and review all the podcasts I listen to. 'Cause I'm bad about not doing that.
I know. We ask for it, and then we do not reciprocate. So that's
Luckily,
rude.
I feel pretty good because we recently gave you guys a ton of video game music podcast recommendations.
Yeah.
Go check out our episode 2 episodes ago, I believe. Or was it 3?
I'm not sure, but you can find it in the archives, and there's
there's a blog post for it as well,
right.
And we run through a bunch of awesome video game music podcasts that are out there. So yeah, check that out. Finally, we are a part of the Whales Are Whales Productions Network, which is a network that has a bunch of different shows like this with people like us. Right now, we've got quite a few different ones going on, and we might even have next week a new podcast releasing. So keep an eye on the website whalesorewhales.com.
Indeed.
Or if you follow the Whales Or Whales feed on Twitter, that's like a super feed of all our shows, as Steven can actually remember to update it.
Indeed.
And that'll close it out for this episode. Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, I'm a little late on the draw today. I hope you enjoyed listening to this. If you liked the general idea of it but thought we did it poorly, well, we might listen back to this, do some editing, and think on it a bit, and come back with a better round 2. So let us know if you liked it at all.
If you thought the format was bad but thought we performed it well, that's interesting. It's good feedback.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what to...
Yeah, definitely let us know what you think about it, because it's fun to start experimenting. I don't think this would ever, replace our old format, but I like the idea of bringing in different episode, motifs as we go, just to keep things from being stale.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Steven, for being here.
Indeed.
Thank you, me, for getting up and doing this on very short notice. And thank you, world, for being there.
And thank you, Sega, for releasing apparently half of my iTunes library.
And Namco for the other half.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a good Saturday.